Hey everybody, this is Felicia with The Book is Done. I hope that you are having a super fantabulous Sunday so far. I do apologize. I am not feeling well still. Oh my goodness, it's real. So I wasn't going to make a video about this one because I don't know what it is. I think ever since I started reading the Richard Paul Evans books, I've gotten into like this whole, not necessarily to say a holiday book reading mood, but at the same point in time, like I didn't realize I had a lot of Christmas type or holiday Christmas type holiday books here, whether it's, feel good stories, thrillers, murder mysteries, true stories. I'm looking around now and I'm looking at like six off rip, which is crazy. So the book that I'm going to talk about right now, I just finished this today, y'all. It had my blood pressure up, had it up, and I'll tell you in a minute. Glenn Beck, The Christmas Sweater. So this is a true story. This is a true story of Glenn Beck. And when I say Glenn Beck, this is like the TV news correspondent. I don't want to say he's a personality, but I mean he's like legit. He's been on CNN. He's all over the place, right? So it was like, oh, okay, Glenn Beck. Let's see. I mean, he does have some other books out there, but I've never really been like a political type person when it comes to books. But I was just like, okay, true story. Let me read it. Let me see what it's about. Y'all, don't get me wrong. The book was good. It was good. I think if I did not get started on, like, I'm reading like 8 books at a time, right? So this other book that I'm getting ready to read, I'm probably going to finish tonight. It's another Christmas book, but it's a thriller book, murder mystery book. So this book right here, The Christmas Sweater. So it's basically when you read like the overview of it, it's talking about how it's this 11, 12-year-old boy who was given the gift of a Christmas sweater, and he did not like the book. I mean, the book. He did not like the sweater. Couldn't stand the sweater because, not to say like every 10, 11, 12, 13 year old, kid, what he really wanted at the time was a bike. And it was a specific bike, a Huffy bike. Like Huffy used to be super huge. I don't know if the brand is still huge or not, but the bike that he wanted was like top of the line, A tier type bike. And he had made the promise. He was like, I promise to God I will do my best. I'll do all my chores. I'll be on my best behavior. I just want to have the bike. I don't want nothing else. I just want to have the bike. So that's how the story starts. And then it's talking about, from what I read, he was an only child. And so it was him and his parents. They were married, humble beginnings, you know what I mean? Like, I want to say this was like in Washington or Utah, Washington State or Utah, and kind of like in a country, if you will. And their dad was like the breadwinner of the family. They ran a little bakery downtown, did really well, but I mean they were good people, like legit good people, and they did well by others, and they're people. So if times were hard on some folks, here, take some bread, here, whatever you need, we got it. And so really, they weren't rich, but at the same point in time, like, they were okay. And so it came a time where um his dad had gotten sick, and his dad had passed away. And so he was really sad about that, and his mom doing what she could do, single mom. She's working 2, 3, 4 jobs, which I get. Single mom, twins, I get it. So she's doing her best. And I'm not grief hits people in different ways, in different manners, if you will. And even though he was dealing with grief throughout this entire book, it's grief, which is hard enough for an adult as is, but it was for a 12-year-old. And her parents were still alive. I don't think that his dad's parents were still alive, but her parents were still alive. And so, like, they would go caroling, him, mom, and the dad would go caroling. The dad couldn't sing, and he'll tell you, like, my dad couldn't sing. Even the mama said, my dad, her husband can't sing, but it's something that brings him joy. They sung carols at the retirement home. I have a soft spot for grandparents. I have a soft spot for the older population, just because it's wisdom. It's just pure wisdom. I could literally go to a retirement home or a senior citizen home, or I forgot what they call these little fancy doodads now, honey. The 55 plus and older community. And I would just talk to them for hours, just to, I don't know. It's just something about the older population, grandparents. I have a soft spot for grandparents, and so he in the book, his name is Eddie, and so they go and do carols, and there's this one particular song that the last time they sung it was when their dad, like his dad, was living in. It was a tender moment, and after they left there, he and his mom were at home, and she was like, "I know that you heard the song because I did too. I know you miss your dad. I do too." So they went to the grandparents' house, and Glenn, he already had like this anger type. His form of grief was in the form of anger. Like he was grieving, but he was angry, just angry at everybody, right? And so he was like, "I really don't want to go to the grandparents' house," and she was like, "You know what? We're going. Period. Like, we're going. Get your shoes on. Let's go." So it's an hour and a half to the grandparents' house. They get there. He's just like, now, mind you, let me retract back. So he was upset because when they opened up all of their presents, he didn't get the bike, but instead he got a sweater, and he was so upset. I get it. Every kid has felt that in some way, shape, or manner where they didn't get something that they really, really wanted, and they were really upset. I get that. So he was like, "Please excuse me, going to my room." He threw the sweater down on the floor. So when mom came in the room and was like, "We're going to the grandparents," she looked at the floor. She hand knit the sweater, right? Her and her mom bought the yarn, bought the sweater. Like, they made the sweater by hand. So, of course, my heartstrings as a mom, something that you poured your heart and soul into, and you see it just tossed aside, it's just like, okay, so that's how you feel. All right. So, now we're going to the grandparents' house, and she was like, "You're going to put on that sweater because your grandmother wants to see you in the sweater." Cool. Get to the grandparents' house, and him and the grandpa had a good relationship, and so that he's pissed. He's livid throughout the whole time that they're at the grandparents' house. And I mean, it's just the four of them, grandparents trying to make light of things, and they realized he didn't get the bike, all this kind of stuff. And so mom was tired, right? Mom said she had worked all three of her jobs. She was tired. So she was like, "Hey, guess what? And this is Christmas Eve, I believe." She's like, "Hey, guess what? We're going to spend a night here at Grandma and Grandpa's house because I'm really tired, and it's just going to be really fun to wake up in this Christmas morning, and we're going to be here. And your father's way, in honor or in memory of him, he's going to bring the first snow." That's just what they said. So he was like, Eddie was like, "You know what? I just really want to go home. I just want to just I get it, and I don't know if it hit different because my twins are 11, but at the same point in time, how he was in this book was like a spoiled brat. I am one. I got hands. I'm gonna beat your tail. hitch in the mouth, hitch in the throat, something like, it's not child abuse. But at the same point in time, it's just like, you are going to be respectful. You're going to be respectful of me. You're going to be respectful of my house, of elders, of adults. You're going to do it. And if you don't like it, oh well, you're going to do it. So, hey, Eddie had a whole attitude, right? Whole attitude. So the grandfather was just like, you know what? Y'all, maybe y'all should just go home. Eddie doesn't want to be here. You know, he has some things he wants to do with his friends. They leave. Mom is livid, right? So it's just them two in the car. He in the back seat sulking, just attitude. I wanted to put my hands on him so bad in this book. And so she was like, you really outdid yourself, Eddie. You really outdid yourself. And he could tell that she was upset, but he was over it. So about that time, the book said he fell asleep and so did his mom. They get in an accident. Eddie is hurt, but his mom was killed. Mom broke her neck and she was killed. So now he's without a dad. Now he's without a mom. And so he goes to live with the grandparents. I'm so mad I'm almost in tears. Because I'm like, because of you, and because you didn't get the bite, now you got to live with that guilt, with that grief, that it was your fault. So that's me. That's just me. So the book is still going on. He lives with the grandparents. He gets even furthermore in deeper grief. He's grieving. He has severe anger issues. Taking it out. Back talking. Taking it out on his grandmother. Taking it out on his grandfather. And his grandfather's like, look. I can handle what you throw at me, but what you're not going to do is talk to your grandmother like that. You hurt your grandmother, you're going to have to deal with me. This little boy came out his mouth and was like, I don't care. Y'all, the mama in me. My heart, I'm sitting here like this. I'm just like, it's a book, but it's real. But at the same point in time, like, there is no way I could have said that to my mom. You know what I mean? There is no way in which anybody in my family could have said that to anybody. Aunts, uncles, great uncles, grandma, grandpa, great grandparents, great grandparents. We couldn't say that to nobody. You would get your head knocked off. You would have to go outside and pick a switch. Plus, get it with the belt or a ruler or whatever. Chunkler, you would get it, right? So I'm just reading the book and I'm just like, Lord Jesus, he making me sweat. Jesus, how he talking to his grandparents like this? Like, I don't understand. So the book goes on. He befriends this little boy in his class and they become friends, and he's like, they treat me like I'm a son. Like, they treat me like they had money. The dad was an oral surgeon or something like that. And so they had a TV, they had this big house, that he could drink it, and it was a single parent, or no, 2-parent home with 1 child. So like him, but he was like, this is how life is supposed to be living. That's how I'm supposed to be living my life. I won't have to worry about anything. When I get older, I'm gonna get rich and I'm gonna leave all this behind. Okay. So I'm like, Lord, help my blood pressure. I had to take like breaks because I was ready. Like, I'm so glad it turned around. So, as he's walking one night, because not to say like his grandparents lived on the farm, and the little boy, he lived a little ways down the street. Because like I said, they were like not country, but they were in the country. They weren't in the burbs, but you had to walk to get to like your place. So he's walking. He befriends this man named Russell. I believe Russell was the angel. And so Eddie hadn't seen Russell before. And Russell was like, I'm sorry to hear about what happened to your mom. Eddie hadn't dealt with the passing of his mom. So like, for some reason, it just hit him like a ton of bricks and he starts crying, like falls on the ground crying. So I'm just like, okay, my blood pressure's still up here, y'all. Still up here. But it's like little tiny bits of breakthrough. So he goes back and he talks to Russell. And when he gets back home to his grandparents, he tells his grandparents about Russell. And they were like, nobody's lived in that barn or that house on that land for like 7 years. So next thing you know, all the folks are out there. They got their rifles. They ready to shoot them up. Like who trespassing? Like somebody finna go to jail or die. One of the two. So um, they find somebody that was trespassing on the property, but it wasn't Russell. So the story goes on. Eddie is getting more and more reckless at the mouth. He's getting more disrespectful. He's talking to his grandmother some kind of way, and my heart is hurting throughout this whole thing because I'm like, my goodness, there's no way I would still be living, not at 12, talking like that. It could be somebody at church I couldn't talk to like that, and it would still, ooh, I wouldn't be living. So, in all things, Eddie is mad at God, right? So he was like, you gotta sit. He's talking to his grandmother. His grandfather. You gotta sitting in church, talking about how this God, loves us and believes us and wants what's best for us. But he took away two of the best things in my life. He took away my mom and my dad. How is that want what's best for me? And so, he decides that at first I'm not gonna tell the whole book. I want to, but y'all, my blood pressure hasn't been this high since reading Housemaid by Frida McFadden, honey. Cause that Mina, whoo, listen. If she was real, she would have got these hands, okay? And even in the third Housemaid, the housemaid is watching, I believe. I got it down there somewhere, but the third housemaid with those two little, I'm getting off topic. Listen, the Christmas sweater, at the end of it all, he does change his behavior around. He realizes that it's him. Nobody else but him. And how he treats people, how his outlook on life was, his anger, his rage, which everybody understood that he was grieving, but it was a way in how you do things. It's a way in how you handle things. It's a way in how you move through things. And so it was a good message. Really, really, really was a good message. This will, until I get my nerves right, this will be the only book that I read of Glenn Beck because, like I said, it was a really, 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 really good book. My nerves just, oh, I'd have beat that child. I would have put my hands on that little boy. Just, oh, Lord, I'm just, in all things. The moral of the story was to really look at what's in front of you and be grateful for what you have, because it could be taken away. Be careful in what you say and how you say it, because you never know if those would be the last words that you would say to somebody. Whether it was your last words physically, like you passed away, or whoever you were talking to passed away, or whatever the case may be, something happened to him. You never know. And just, it's not always about what you want. Because I will tell you, in the book, he did get the bike. He did. Don't you know he didn't want it? He didn't want it. He was so infuriated with how everything was going. The grandparents, mom's parents, had gotten him the bike. It was hidden in the barn. And when he saw it, he was just like, he couldn't believe it. He was dumbfounded. He was just like, this this is the bike. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And it just, anger and rage will take you on such a path that is so outside of where you're destined to go if you let it continue to lead you. So it had a lot of good takeaways in this book. I wouldn't say to read it, not just because, oh, don't read it because it's a Christmas book. It was a good read. Like, I started this book years ago and put it back because I was just like, I don't know how I feel about it. It's going to make me mad. And I never really got past like the first 2 chapters of it. So I put it down, pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. And so I was like, you know what? This is only 270 some pages. Let's knock this book out. Like, I started, I want to say I started about 2 days ago. I would read like maybe 20 pages of it, get my nerves together, take a break, or it was time to go to bed. And that was it. Today, I picked this book up and I was like, you know what, we're going to finish this book today. So it's a really, really good read. It's a good story. It's a good message behind it. If you have it, read it. If not, think about going to pick it up. Check it out at your local library and read it. It is a good read. It really is a good read. So, this is Felicia. What the book is done. I'm gonna go take me some more medicine, y'all. First day of fall, and I just don't feel good. But in all things, the next book that I will probably be talking about is this one, the Christmas Murder Game. It's really good so far. It kind of starts out where it's like it has a genogram or a venogram. No, a genogram, where it has all of the different generations. So it has, like, grandma, grandpa, the kids that they have, and then who they got married to, the child that they had. And so it's like, I'm okay with having multiple characters in a book, multiple point of views from a book. But when it gets to over 5, I'm just like, okay, I gotta flip to the beginning of the book to see who this is, how they related, what's their relationship to the main person, all of that. It's like that. So I mean, I'm halfway through the book. So more than likely, I think I'm on like page 105. It's 270 some pages. I'm gonna be finished with the book tonight. If I don't, it's because I fell asleep. But in all things, this is Felicia with The Book Is Done. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know. It's so much. It's so many good books that are coming out. Oh my word. Speaking of which, Kirsten Macklin, October 1st. What is that? Next Tuesday? She's coming out with a new book. The Guilty One or something. I don't know. But in all things, I want my hands on it. It's on my wish list on Amazon, and I want it. I want it. I want it bad. And that's the same book. That's the same book. The same day that Freedom McFadden's book, The Boyfriend, comes out. Y'all, I can't wait. It's so much goodness. I think that's on my list for pre-order. But in all things, I need to do something like a GoFundMe or something so I can just get these books and read. That's all I want to do is read. But I hope that y'all are having a good day. This video went way over what it was supposed to. But I had to tell you about that book. I hope that y'all are having a good day so far. This is Felicia with The Book Is Done, and I'm out.